It's the Doublewide dudes.
All right. Welcome back to another episode of the Doublewide dudes. I'm going to keep it old school today and just kick it with the true OGs of Braustin homes. Got Jason joining us today. What's going on, man?
I am insanely excited to be here. I've watched y'all leave for the past 4 years once a week and have an amazing time, so I've been waiting for this.
Yeah. Secretly feeling left out, not telling everybody. We get a meme right before the recording.
Yeah.
Little cat with the sad cat eyes.
Yeah. I still remember AP coming back, three months into the business, and he's like, hey, we're going to do a podcast. I'm like, oh, yeah. Well, we're all just working. He's like, we're going to name it the Doublewide dudes. Who's the second guy? And we all kind of just look at each other like, oh, okay. Like, who's going to do this? Let's go.
The only guy that knows how to record things, it had to be you.
I had to step up.
Woo, oh, yeah. Well, all right. Welcome back to another episode of Doublewide dudes.
My name is Mauricio, a.k.a. Mousetraps, and I'm sitting here with AP.
And we're the Doublewide dudes.
That's right.
Well, this is it's a special edition. I don't know what we're going to call it, but for the time being, it's going to be your last podcast with us.
Yeah.
Stepping up into more of a leadership role in the sales team. And I think back 4.5 years ago, we had nothing to do. Nobody was calling us. Nobody really knew who we were. We had nothing but time. I remember I went to some marketing seminar during startup week, or they're talking about finding your voice, and that's where the podcast idea came from. And you just knew how to make beats, and one thing led to another.
Hey, you got a microphone, right? All right, let's do this.
How did you come up with that theme song?
I don't know. We were just searching for it. And we were thinking about, we went through some pre-purchase ones to kind of get the rights to it or whatever. And then we kind of pieced that together, and it ended up working.
We're trying to, the Johnny Cash song, Ring of Fire?
Yeah.
I fell in. We're trying to copy that intro music with the mariachis and make it very right. San Antonio. Well, in line with the special edition, kind of what I was wanting to recreate. You remember a couple years ago we went out to celebrate Braustin's birthday. It was all of us around the table just reminiscing. And it's your last episode. We got 4.5 years to talk about.
Yeah, man.
So I guess we'll kick it off. What was your favorite podcast memory?
The early stages were, as much as nervous as I was, it was probably the funnest ones because, we didn't know what we were doing, right? I remember we were splicing because, we got together at my place and I have the editing software. So, I remember going through takes, just one sentence. We were trying to be like, what's the next topic? We're looking at the list and we're just, not knowing what we're doing, just putting things together. Yeah. Recording 3-4 hours for a 5-minute segment, right? Like the mobile home myths, that's what we had. But along the way, we've had a lot of cool conversations where each one I feel like I'm learning something, which is the beautiful part about podcasts. But I can't pinpoint an exact one. The early stages were for sure super cool, kind of getting it out there. And I remember spam texting my friends, hey, I got the Doublewide Dudes podcast, download it. I got some subscribers. And I remember a friend of mine was and I had to do a couple follow-up texts hey, it's me, Mao, I'm not spamming you, please subscribe. I thought this was a bot, I deleted your text. So yeah, I remember doing that.
Remember our first few episodes? I think we launched 3 at the same time, Mobile Home Mess.
Yeah.
And we went, anybody at Geekdom, we were, hey, we need you to download, we're trying to get up there with first roll them out. And these people didn't know who we were.
Yeah.
We were just the guys asking people to download our podcast.
Doublewide what? All right, for sure, I'll check it out.
Yeah.
I remember y'all asking everyone to download the podcast. And then I think the next step was y'all came out with the intro. So then that's all I heard on the 8th floor. We're all trying to work at that little table, and then I'd hear it go up. And we look, and sure enough, AP's standing next to someone who's brand new at Geekdom, doesn't want to say no to him. We're all right, I'll do it.
Oh, welcome to Geekdom. Download the podcast.
Yeah,
those good times. And for the audience now, we got this nice podcast studio and all the fancy camera equipment. But it started off in your living room. It was just us, and I mean, we'd sit there to 1, 2 in the morning with the editing, and it was good times though. It was just, all in all, thinking back to those first 4.5 years beyond the podcast, were just really, really exciting. Remember when what was the parade? Battle of Flowers? There's something that was shutting down the street. We weren't gonna be able to get to Geekdom, and the whole team rolled up to Mal's house, and we just parked at his house. He made this bomb breakfast.
Yeah, that's right.
That was probably one of my favorite early first year memories.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that was our first experience of working downtown with Fiesta going on. We thought we would be all right, and everyone here was like, no, we're closed down. We're like, well, we're going to work.
Yeah.
And then we tried to, and instantly, no way.
Yeah. All the streets were shut down. We couldn't even get here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was that for the whole week that we were at your apartment?
I remember we tried it the first day and it worked out. I think we did one more day and ended up cooking like the breakfast, and there wasn't very good ventilation in my place. So by it was like 86 degrees, like, hey, we got to get out of this apartment. we can't be sitting in here. So I do remember that, like, we're all sweating and it's all, there was not proper ventilation. But yeah, I think we probably worked from home the rest of the week.
That's when I first realized how good you were at making salsa. You made that green one, remember?
Yeah.
That was really good.
I learned a number of recipes doing it. Every time we do the podcast at his house, we cook up something.
Yeah. He would text me pictures later, like, Elsa, like, I have Elsa making me this right now. Like, what was it? Cabbage and what? I don't know what I was doing.
It was the cauliflower and cabbage, which on the surface, there's nothing about that that sounds good.
Right.
But the way he made it, I put on a show, and then you put the egg on top, and
I was making egg tutorial videos. I was that into it. Like, I remember sending Jason, like, hey, check out this perfect flip of this egg, dude.
Yeah.
Remember that?
yeah.
Well, and then remember we were at our first official sales lot, right, in Poteet. And we'd make breakfast every single day there. We got the cast iron. We'd all shine it. Like, each of us had their different duties in the kitchen. Right? It was fun.
Well, and that sales, just like the podcast, I mean, those are some of my favorite memories. You think back, doing a podcast in the living room, not the ideal setup, but we made it work, right? Yeah. Our first sales lot was a Doublewide in a mobile home park. Not the ideal setup to start a business, but we made it work. That was one of our first Instagram posts on the Braustin Instagram account, was you cooking at the stove at the Doublewide we were using.
Yeah, the caption, would it read, like, Mao making his famous papas y huevos, like, play or something.
Yeah. So the podcast, we've gone from mobile home myths to interviewing customers, seeing what their experience was like, to interviewing folks doing all sorts of things in affordable housing. Any one guest stand out to you as something you really learned a lot from?
There was one, that lady in, was it Minnesota or St. Louis? She was doing like some housing for, was it veterans?
Where they were using the prison system to build the houses?
Oh, that one was interesting for sure.
That was probably my favorite.
Yeah. That's crazy. I mean, what were they doing on that? Like,
basically turning the prison into a single-wide factory, right? Where the inmates would learn skills that when they got out could lead to jobs, reducing the recidivism rate. It was a really cool idea. Yeah. Right? They needed affordable housing. You got, a group of folks that could benefit from learning new skills. And then the market as a whole, that's one of the biggest challenges right now. People don't know how to build homes, and it's not a skill that's constantly taught, right? What about you? What's your favorite episode? Listening from a distance.
I think just the theme of the mobile home myths was cool.
Yeah.
When y'all did that initially. Yeah.
I mean, that's one of the most common things, like, still to this day, 4 years in, still hearing customers have that, right? Like, the stigma's still there. It's like, over the years, talking to all the people in the affordable housing space, it's just, as a whole, the whole United States feels that, Yeah. So everyone in the space, like, all right, they know what these builders and factors are now capable of and all that. So, like, that's why we decided to attack that at the very beginning, right? The mobile home myths, to kind of, like, have our audience and listeners really hear from, like, an insider view of what all that, like, entails.
Was that the first couple podcasts y'all did?
It's probably the first.
Like 8?
Yeah, 8.
We did, like, a little segment, and there was, like, we attacked each little myth each one. I don't remember the order.
Trailer trash, tornado magnets,
Yeah.
depreciation.
Yeah.
Those probably, I think those are the first three most common ones, right?
But I think y'all did it in a good way, to where you're not bashing the rest of the industry. Just, hey, it's a little bit different than what you actually think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was good.
You know, that's one thing I've learned. The industry as a whole is full of people that want to make things better, right? It's just, do they have the tools and resources or even thought processes to do that? And that's where I think the podcast and just in general what we're doing has helped. Remember we went to Texas, the TMHA convention?
Yeah.
We were giving that initial talk. It was probably back in 17, 18. We're talking about the videos, the drones, and we thought we were done, and some guy in the back raised his hand. Hey, don't you have a podcast?
Yeah. You haven't talked about that. What's going on with that?
Yeah, we didn't think anybody was listening, but I think in terms of total downloads and listeners, I mean, we're well past, 7,500. I mean, not a ton. We're not Joe Rogan, but
Right.
we're talking about a very niche topic. So the fact that many people have downloaded or listened, kind of a lot more than I originally thought, right?
Those were the early days, though, too. We were barely starting as well. I mean, he's in the space, right? Granted, that convention, but and he was an older gentleman, someone who I wouldn't think would listen to podcasts.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like, he knew about it.
Then we had, I think, Leroy. I mean, he'll just go down in history as my favorite customer. It's one of the only customers I had in Braustin.
Like the only home you ever saw.
Talk about the best one, right?
Yeah.
And I remember he came on our podcast and works at Anheuser-Busch, brought a case of whatever the latest and greatest beer was. He was all pro on the podcast because he used to do interviews or something with ESPN on the racing track circuit for Budweiser. Remember that? He, in terms of speaking and interviewing, he was probably better than us at the time. Well, y'all have had a lot more customers than me. Thinking back over the last 4.5 years, I mean, who sticks out in your mind, Jay?
Ruben and Ana Diaz, for sure. She had gone to a bunch of places before us, kept getting a no, but kept going to other places to hopefully get a yes. And I don't know how she did it, because some of the no's she was telling me sounded really valid, that people were saying. I mean, someone actually went out to her property and said there's no way a house can get in here. And then when she called me right away, she said that, like, look, here's the deal. I was told no on financing. I was able to get that. Recently, almost closing the house, someone went to the property and said there's no way a house can get in here. So I might be wasting your time, but I don't know, right? And I think it was really exciting when they went and did the site inspection to her property, and we got the response of, yeah, we can easily get it in. You don't have to bring some machinery, do some maneuvering, but I remember how excited she was then. And then even towards the end, there was something about the septic. The city wasn't going to allow it to happen, and she kept digging and finding all this stuff. It was really neat. I always tell the story, work during certain hours and be so good at it that you don't necessarily have to answer phones on your days off. But Miss Diaz and Ruben, I spoke to them at, I think it was like 1 o'clock in the morning one night.
Jeez.
I was up and I was sending her some information on an email, and within 45 seconds, I get a response saying, she answered to what I asked and then said, me and Ruben are in bed. Do you mind jumping on a call real quick? And I was like, yeah, I'm reclined on the sofa right now watching The Sopranos. I was like, let's do this. And I had her on speaker on my chest, and we were talking for about 20 minutes. But yeah, they're super cool.
That's
They're
awesome.
Easily one of my favorite customers.
Yeah.
In addition to the struggle and her just plowing through it, afterwards, when the home got delivered, they had a little family gathering. So they invited me over, and they had a margarita machine. They were making street tacos outside. And I'm trying to be the polite guest and not just eat 30 tacos right there, right? Try to contain myself. And they, I believe it was their grandmother or their mom, but they just kept bringing dishes of tacos to me. There was the authentic street tacos with the small corn tortilla, and it was incredible.
Dang.
It reminded me of living in the valley with my wife's family when you'd go over there. It was neat.
Little corn tortillas.
Yeah, it was incredible.
The big three that stick out to me, I think all three were that first year. You know, it's the three videos that we first made, right? The Chavez family, Leroy, Michelle, and them, the Diaz family, and then the Smiths. That was your customer, right?
Yeah.
Just all three had different stories where it was no, and then, you know, whether it was luck or us trying to find a different way, we were able to get a yes.
Yeah, I mean, that was one of my favorite customers for sure. Just when people actually feel the gratitude of the hard work that we put in and the honesty and upfront information, it's extremely satisfying, right? Like seeing that video, you see them really kind of like struggling with the past experiences and them thinking that that's the only thing that exists, which is wild to me, right? And like the fact that I saw that video and the nice things that they had to say just really struck me as like, all right, well, we're on to something here. Like that, it's nonstop from here on out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I still remember in that video when Mr. Smith said he took out something from the wall socket and water just came pouring out. That was an emotional video. That was a good one.
It was.
No, it was. The last recording, I took AJ down to Refugio, and he was just trying to get out of the house. And he was staying in the back while I was asking him the questions. And they said something. It was about you or Braustin, and just I couldn't. I just started crying. I'm like, all right, AJ, you're gonna see your dad cry real quick.
We love your dad.
And there's a real emotional. I think. I mean, this is a dream for our customers, right? It's not like we're selling a cup or something that they're going to use and never think of again. I mean, this is the backdrop of every substantial memory they're ever going to have, right?
That's a good point.
You know, and then they reminisce, just like us talking about the podcast in your living room. For them, it's the background of everything they're going to have in their scrapbook, right? You know, it's been 4.5 years since we did the podcast. We're completely different as a business. There was 4 of us. Now there's 24 of us. Probably going to be adding some more. We're going to different cities, different states. You know, if you go back in time, we'll start with you, Jay. Is this what you thought this was going to turn into 4.5 years ago? Or what was going through your mind if we go back 4.5 years ago?
4.5 years ago, I was trying to figure out how I was going to park.
Right?
Park for the day downtown and to save that $1.30 to park under the bridge. But no, I definitely knew it was going to be something huge, just surrounded by the people we had around us, and the ideas and the talent that was around us. I knew it would be something huge. I had no idea what, though. And yeah, it's wild seeing it all come together, but that's still some of the excitement. Is we'll go down one lane and we think that's a neat idea, and you get so far and like, no, there's no way that will ever work. All right, let's try something new, and there's just nothing that says we have to stick to one thing.
Yeah. It's funny you talk about the parking. That's some of my favorite memories too. Is like, you know, we all got bikes. We became a bicyclist gang. But then it'd be pouring down rain. Like, oh man, we got 1.5 miles to go to get to the free parking under the bridge. It's pouring down rain. Let's go make it happen.
What would happen when it rained? One person would go to the car. I think usually it was you, Mal, or me, because we had the trucks and people would throw their bikes in. And then you'd pull up to the front of Geekdom and everybody would just jump in. Incredible.
And then we upgraded to the $1.50 parking. And that's when the scooters first rolled out.
Oh, yeah.
I was real disappointed. Those things. I was all hyped up watching you guys zoom in and out, and they look fast. They look fun. I get on, and this thing barely moves. Like 100% not designed for folks almost 300 pounds.
That's why they developed the ones with the chair on it. The big ones.
But what about you? I remember, what were we going to do? Some consulting thing, and you and I are going out to this condemned mobile home park.
All right, hold on, let me tell that story.
All right, from your perspective, you tell it.
Yeah, like we're trying to decide the consulting. What do we do? Like, you know, starting a business, and you know, the idea sure enough popped up. Like, hey, what about mobile homes? Like this is our backdrop. This is what we know. What are we doing? So we made some phone calls, old contacts, and you know, there was my previous experience of mobile homes wasn't very well, not very good memories, right? Like the effort was there, the learning experiences. So we're starting consulting, we're having this, but you make a few phone calls, and sure enough, we drive down Highway 16, we roll up to this mobile home park, and I walk. I remember getting out the door. It was just me and you and our old consultant at the time, right? And sure enough, I think you got a dip in, and you're just walking around with your hands like this on your shoulders or on your hips, just going like that, nodding like, like dude, just seeing your mind going. And I'm over here sitting in the car about to get out, like, dang, dude, we're about to sell mobile homes at this park right here. Like, what are we doing? And like, yeah, I still remember that switch. Like, it was almost immediate. Like, once you knew, all right, we're gonna do this. We're gonna do mobile homes. Then it was just nonstop from there. Like I remember seeing that click in you, and seeing that like your mind working as this having a possibility. Like you saw the vision, I still remember that day.
Yeah, that was the condemned park.
Yeah,
I mean, it was rough, but
what do you think about Mao? We're gonna take over the world. I'm just like, yo, I don't know about this one, man.
I remember the first time I went there. Y'all had already seen it, and AP had been there a bunch of times, and I put in my 2 weeks with the previous company I was with, and so I was all ready to go. Mine's made up no matter what. And I pull into that park, and I'm looking around. I'm like, all right, I've seen some things being in this industry for a while. All right. And like we get in, and it was you couldn't flush the toilets.
Yeah.
Some of the used houses, they were. I remember that was the plan at first, like just to get us going until we could build a website and sell new homes. It was going to be, we were going to help sell some of those used ones. And I got home that night. I was blindly excited still, right? Blindly excited. And then like I'm on Indeed looking for security jobs at night, like around the house. So then Crystal's like, what are you doing? I was like, I got to find a way to make this work. It may take a little bit longer than expected.
it was looking at stocking shelves at night or something. Cause we just didn't think we were going to make any kind of money out the gate. But we got that website going January 20th. I remember that. That's our official birthday. And like 3 days later, Leroy called.
That's right.
And that was, I mean, looking back on it now, we just were not ready for someone to want to buy anything from us. But we figured it out.
Yeah, I remember when I helped my first customer, like we finally closed the deal. We're all looking at each other like, all right, cool, let's go ahead and help this family, get things going. And I was like, all right, cool, who's going to set the house? You're like, I don't know. Who's going to deliver the house? I'm like, I don't know. Well, we're going to figure it out, though. It's just like, all right, let's go. Yeah, I remember like taking every step as just, we'll figure it out. That's the whole mentality of us.
Yeah, those are things I like to look back on. Our first day, you and I started at our house. Like, all right, we're gonna save cost. We're gonna work from home and build up into an office. And then I think you and I don't even think we made it an hour into the workday. My 4 kids are screaming in the background, being they're being kids.
I thought it was talent show.
Hey, Jason, look at this. Hey,
Dad, look at this. Like,
Uncle Jason, look at this. And then we looked at each other like, this is never gonna work. And then I think the next day we came down to Geekdom for that $50 a month office space.
Yeah. Well, and at the time, you come to this space and $50, and especially startup mode, right, where every dollar is a lot, right? And you get here and you're $50 and you're just penciling out. We get internet, and we get a copier and a scanner. There's water and sodas and all that.
They have chips and dips on Wednesdays.
It's the best. Yeah. Oh, and then all the food from there. That I think the food from their events kept me fed our first 6 months.
For sure.
Easy. For sure, to start to death.
Well, I was watching John's Meet the Team video, and that was cracking me up because, him and John Garcia were actively trying to get us in, and we're like heads down, like we got to build a business. Like, we're not going to make any money going to chips, dips, and friendships. Not that we don't like you guys, but like
every week, every day there was something. Right?
Yeah, like we have no money, and if we don't make something, we will never have money.
Yeah.
I didn't know anything of what they were doing. I just knew that these guys never left their desks. And at Geekdom, we're a part of a community, and the whole thing is everyone to work together and hang out, but these guys were never to be found. It's my job to help build the community, so it was funny having to kind of pull them and find ways to trick them with like free food and tacos to like hang out with us. They'd come down for that, and of course I'd look and they'd disappear with like all these tacos in their hand and get back to their phones.
And y'all stroll up with armful of tacos, because I had to eat too, right? Y'all were on a mission.
Well, that day they tricked us. Normally, we would send one person down, and they would come back with 4 plates, or, 8 tacos, whatever. And this day, and we would always ask the Johns first, like, hey, do we have to stay? Or can we in and out like we always do? And so that day, they're like, yeah, whatever, just, come grab. So we go downstairs to the event center, and right away when we walk in, I know it's a trap. Like we're stuck. There's what, 15 chairs in a circle. There's only 4 people there. Us 3 just walk in. We see the tacos to the right in the brown bag. And there's no turning back. We grabbed our tacos.
We had to sit down.
And then sit down, and they're asking us, like, what's your favorite date? What's your favorite pickup line? And the whole time I'm thinking, like, we got to get out of here. We got to get back to work. How do we exit this situation?
Phone's ringing. I can only take so many calls.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's funny to hear John from his perspective, because I imagine to the outside world it just looked like we didn't want to talk to anybody.
Just a bunch of jerks.
Just a bunch of jerks eating free tacos and chips. But no, we're just focused. Like that first year to me is an entire blur, and it just went by so lightning fast. But what's your favorite part about what we're doing now? What will get y'all excited about the future and what we've grown up into?
I think my favorite part is you get to see new people come in that are fairly green when it comes to sales or other positions too. And then because of the stuff we've done in the past couple years, whether it's putting playbooks together, different training, you see them excel much faster than what normally would have happened. And then to see them either get a raise or they help a lot of families out or whatever, but you see that excitement on them because they've just had a amazing month. It's got to be one of my favorite feelings of all time.
Yeah.
Just to see that. And it's because of that first year or whatever, and just progress. Like if they came to us 4 years ago, it's a lot slower. But now to see that and you see how happy they are and the things they're able to do with their families and helping great families, but also doing stuff for their own, and you see that progression. I think that's the best feeling.
Yeah, that's huge. Y tú? What's your favorite so far? What are you excited about?
Like I didn't get to say, like 4.5 years ago, I didn't really think obviously this was going to happen, right? It's just like head down, get to work, let's build this company. And not to see where we're at 4.5 years down the road with you said 24 employees? I thought it was
24 and
24 of us. It's hard to imagine like that's what we were going to be, just because startup mode, $1 chicken taco was just too much money, right? like all that stuff. So seeing that is just incredible. And then down 4 years from now, creating our own destiny and like having the power to do that is super exciting and satisfying. Yeah.
Well, it's that figure it out muscle we started developing as a team. Really, day one out the gate is now like we could have never seen COVID happen, and now it's getting behind us. But now there's this new supply chain issue, and it just, I was talking to some of the other folks in our industry a few days ago, and how are y'all dealing with this or this or this, and I almost forgot how big the problems are facing our industry because, I walk into the office and, we're changing to do this? Cool. And we're just so accustomed as a team to changing everything almost constantly. Like, I almost feel like if we're not completely changing on a quarterly basis, you'll start to question if I'm even doing my job, but it's just so ingrained in what we're doing. But I was talking to Pat and Mike at our board meeting today, and I was talking about the feedback we've been getting during the interview process, as we are looking to hire some more team members, but then from the customers too, talking about this, these videos, whether it's the meet the team or the birthday videos, and these have nothing to do about buying a home, but their feedback was, essentially, y'all look like a cool group or fun group to hang out with, and if I've got to spend 90 days buying a home with somebody, looks like y'all are the ones I want to do that with, or if I got to go, everybody's got to work somewhere to pay bills. If I got to do that, might as well be with somebody I enjoy, and really doubling down on that. It's probably been my favorite part of what I've seen this year. And not just because the creative team's in the room with us. I just want to point that out. I would have said that whether they're here or not. But it's almost like we had this identity and this culture that we knew we were building, right? And it was very conscious effort from us to build it that way. But, we weren't projecting that out as much as we could, right? And now being able to let the world know, like, this is what we're doing. It's kind of fun, right? You can make money, you can make a difference, and you can have fun all at the same time. You don't have to pick and choose one or the other.
Yeah. I think it's cool to look back at some of the some of the really insignificant wins, but for us at the time, it was enormous.
Yeah, like what?
So we would walk a half mile to work every day just so we didn't have to pay $1.30. But then when we finally got those $50 parking passes that the company could actually afford, that was like winning the lottery, right? Like, it was like, oh, we've made it. We're big time now. And then, little stuff like insurance was then huge. And then everyone on the team gets insurance. Or when we had the that kickoff barbecue, and being able to go to Lowe's and pick up a couple extra barbecue pits just so we could have a cool cookout. Like, those tiny little wins, but at the time you're like, we're doing it. Like, this is amazing.
That early mentality, I'm telling you, like startup mode.
And now we've got parking garage. Nobody has to worry about rain. I mean, it's unbelievable.
I feel like an old man sometimes back in my day. But it's real life.
We get that story. You always heard that from your grandparents and parents, and now it's like, no, I really parked under a bridge so I could ride my bike or walk to work.
Remember the bats? Like, you could only park in a certain area because if you parked in the wrong, like if you parked under the crack, you were gonna have bat poop all over your vehicle.
That's right.
And it was just unavoidable.
Yeah.
I learned that lesson the hard way the first time we parked under there.
Those walks were the best. Remember you and I, we tried to go down the street where there's construction, and the foreman came and kicked us out. Like we're little fifth graders walking from home, and we tried to talk our way out of it, thinking, we're in sales, we can make this happen. It's like, no, turn around now. All right. Yes, sir, we're out of here.
Like going back to your car, or what do you mean?
Yeah, it was after a day of work, and AP and I were trying to go back and just have a nice little stroll home, and we tried to cut through, and the guy hops down off his machine, and he starts pointing. We just kept going, acting, and then he's like, no, you got to get out. Okay. Yeah. All right, well, respect your job.
Yeah. It's like we put that sign up by the tables, no assigned seats, but like we're the first ones in, last ones out. Those tables just became known as Braustin's tables.
Oh, when you claimed the tables and kicked them, was like, hey, well, this is a collaborative workspace, communal. Like, you can't put your sign outside.
Who does that?
We're every day, 7 days a week. Like, these are our tables.
I remember sitting there, and they canceled, managed to take the sign down and whatever. But I remember sitting there and looking at, what was it, Rilco in that office at the time?
Yeah, Rilco.
I was like, man, that's a nice office. One day.
I thought the same thing.
Now, it's the Braustin office today, but I don't even have a desk. Like, we're at a room already, and there's more team members we're bringing on, and more we got to do. And downtown growing up was not a place, there's just nothing to do down here. There's no reason other than occasionally go see the Riverwalk but it's so different now. Even the city as a whole, the area, they got the new park, that barbecue spot, what's it called?
Pinkerton's.
Oh my goodness.
Oof, yeah.
They're going to take all my money.
Solid brisket.
And then the new park they made down by where we used to park, Travis Lot. This whole area is radically transformed, and there's just an energy.
It is.
You should feel, right? Other than $60 haircuts, I'm loving everything about downtown right now.
Yeah, the vibe's nice. I mean, living downtown and then working downtown was definitely just a really good experience. I mean, you got half a mile to work, you got the cool eatery spots, you got geekdom surrounded by all these entrepreneurs and the energy, you know. So I think it was a blessing that the internet went out that day at
Yeah.
where y'all had to come over here.
Yeah.
Who would have known, like, meeting all the different media teams and just contacts that we developed or got in contact with over the years sprung up new ideas that we probably wouldn't have thought of ourselves.
No, we never would have thought about this. So we weren't even thinking about, I mean, we use software. We all have the apps, but
Yeah.
we weren't thinking about how we could use it for our business and our customers. But
Yeah, that was a huge part of our success is when we came in, right, the sales team, you know, we just had our head down and we're selling. But AP then developed relationships with everyone at Geekdom. And even though you had been selling for a while, like, you came in like, I have no idea about anything.
Yeah.
And people were so willing to help out, and like I nothing, like I have no idea, like, show me, and just you get little pieces from all these cool people around us, and then they maybe would need some help on, you know, I've got this great idea, but I don't know how to sell it, and just ideas started flowing. But
yeah, it's like a barter economy of talent, you know, out the gate.
yeah, but I think you have to come in like how you did, and just humble and look, I don't know anything. I have an idea. I've got the work ethic behind it, but I don't know. If you give me some advice, I'll definitely use it and not waste your time.
Yeah.
I remember every time AP got out of the elevator those first 6 months, I knew what idea, if you got a new idea or not. Depending on the pace he'd be walking back, you know. Going to these meetings, meeting different people, all of a sudden he's walking back, super excited. Like, oh, he's about to throw something down. Like, what has he got now, dude?
Sometimes we get the most insane idea,
Yeah,
like, all right. All right, we're going to try this.
Well, that's what people don't see, right? Like, we've tried so many things that just were never going to work out. But there, I mean, looking back, it's easy. Like Steve Jobs said, it's easy to connect the dots looking backwards, but like the internet going out at that spot we were at. Had that not happened, we wouldn't have come to Geekdom, and then who knows if any of this is live, right? And in the time, you're just ticked because the internet went out, but you don't see how it's all going to fall into place, right?
Yeah.
And there's so many different examples like that, and in a lot of ways, I think that's, you know, kind of what our customer, like Miss Diaz, she kept trying, and eventually things just fell into place, right? You know, Michelle, some of my first memories of Michelle, she'd bring you lunch at our two tables, right? What? I mean, 4.5 years later, it's different than what it was then, but initially, like, what was her thoughts when y'all first got together and started dating on what we were trying to do?
Yeah, like, I remember telling her about the consulting or doing something else, because I was doing different work prior to this, and it was just like a spark in my eye that she was just down with, you know? Like, the idea came about, I came to work, and the first weekend I kind of like saw the vision and just come home excited talking about it, and she was just game, like, she was just down, you know, like, support your dreams, I'm ready to, you know, and anything that you want to do, like, I'm down with it. And this was early in our relationship. It's not like we're 4 years into a marriage, taking a plunge in a new career, and she's just, but she was just really excited for me to be working with like such close friends and be able to create this business to where we're in control of it and having fulfilling work. I remember having those conversations early with her.
That's awesome.
And she would bring me incredible lunches, you know, like,
y'all second date, I think, was like a lunch at the table we were all trying to work on, or the Texas table.
Yeah. No, but she was all for it, man. Like, I remember, like, she was just surprised. You know, I don't know, prior to us getting together, I don't know what type of work ethic she thought I had or what, but she was just impressed and just loving the idea of, like, the go-getting attitude that Braustin kind of, like, sparked for us, you know? Because I saw that vision, and it was just working with us and creating something, so it was dope. Well, it's amazing.
I mean, I know for sure without Elsa's support, we're not here. You know, I'm sure you'd say the same about Crystal and her support. But I mean, what we were trying to do was, I mean, it's still a little borderline crazy, right? But it was 100% a lot crazier 4.5 years ago than,
especially you guys,
right
like, you know, with families, and you know, that's a whole different responsibility. Taking a brand new concept, you know, throwing savings at it, different ideas, really taking a risk, a huge risk. And you know, I felt that energy early on, and I kind of adapted that mentality, and just like, all right, well, like, it's lunchtime. What am I gonna do? I'm not gonna go get a chicken burger at Bill Miller's. I gotta save some money. What are we doing here, right? Like, that was important on the success and growth, and you know, it's just crazy to see now all the different things that we're doing. New locations, like new factories, bigger offices, more employees. Like, the scale of that 4 years ago was just unimaginable for sure. So like 4 years from today, or even 10 years, like, who knows where we're gonna be.
Yeah. It becomes normal to us because we do this every day and we're surrounded by it and the crazy ideas. But the few times that I'm out around other people now, and you tell them what you do and what Braustin does, and I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I know. 80% of the customers we don't ever see, and we sell homes online over the phone at the Riverwalk. It's amazing, but you see in their eyes like, that is crazy.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
it's just been fun, man.
Yeah.
Just thinking back on the 4.5 years and all the shenanigans that we've been through, and I mean, hopefully, probably more than the success, the financial aspect. I mean, really, my biggest hope is that it continues to be this fun. Right? I mean, the level of stress and responsibility, of course, has gone up.
Yeah.
You know, it's a lot more stress making sure 24 people eat than 4, but it's also more fun, right? That what was that? The video, the Easter egg video in the Cascarones. That was just looks like it's a fun place.
Yeah.
So Madeline, you know, my 6-year-old, she got her own laptop for school, and you know, they're doing virtual school and all that. She comes down the other day. I want you to ask me anything about a Braustin video. I'm the biggest Braustin fan. I've liked and subscribed. I've liked every video. Ask me anything.
No way.
Wow.
That's incredible.
And then we had just done the Meet the Team with Lauren. I was like, all right, the new girl on the Braustin team, where's she from? She's like, dang it, I haven't seen that one yet. she goes back, she runs down like 20 minutes later. She's from Florida, and she has rules about the beach. I'm like, all right, you win, but
She knows me as the Doublewide dude, right?
yeah, like your name will forever be the Doublewide dude at our house with our kids.
It's hilarious.
It's fun to get them and just see how they've progressed with the business too. And like, to them, they don't know anything other than Braustin, right? Every Doublewide we pass on the road's a Braustin mobile home. You know, some of the cutest pictures you've got, your girls are with them wearing our old school hats before the sweat stains creeped in. Right? But yeah, it's been a fun journey for sure. So now that you're off the podcast, now that you're leaving us,
Who's the new Doublewide dude?
Well, I don't know. I mean,
Is this my tryout?
this was a low-key tryout for Jason. What are your thoughts? What are your critiques? Is
Hey,
he,
all natural.
Yeah?
Dude, for sure.
George, what do you think?
I approve.
You approve? All right. Winton? He can hold it down?
Yeah.
All right.
He's got that Doublewide dude stature. He's good to go.
Well, we ultimately comes down to the audience, so we'll let our listeners, any comments, suggestions.
Yes.
But it's the end of an era, man. The end of the original Doublewide dudes, and I'm just really excited for you to take that next step with the team too. I mean, we need it for sure. It's kind of always been the plan, right? You're going to but train, kind of the same thing, right? You train, you raise. It's, you know, grow that next part of the Braustin team and help them to learn it the right way.
Yeah.
So-
That's the vision, and I'm super excited. I'll definitely be back on the podcast, just not as consecutively as we were doing it, you know?
we'll discuss it.
Still be a dude.
We'll talk about it.
Yeah,
Be a
we'll
dude.
we'll see if it fits with our schedule of activities we've got planned for.
Yeah, we got a lot of those, so we'll see how it pans out.
Well, I'm excited about Leroy and I working on the cut list. DBL WD DUD. The license plate is available. Doublewide Dude. And that is 100% going to be the license plate that's going to go on that cut list once we get that roadworthy.
Yeah.
So we will pick up right where we left off on the podcast. Make sure we do you proud. And any parting words to the audience?
No, I mean, thanks for listening for sure. The support, and it was a crazy idea to begin with, and I'm excited and I'm happy the way it turned out and the way it's been going for sure.
We're going to miss that beautiful voice.
That sweet molasses.
That smooth molasses, dude.
All right. Well, that does it. Another episode of the Doublewide Dudes. As always, thanks for tuning in. And you want to wrap us up?
We'll catch you guys in the next one.
Safest, easiest, lowest priced. Find a better way home with Braustin, the nation's first virtual home dealership. Call us or visit us online at findmymobilehome.com.